started. Okay, so tonight I've said that I'm going to do my Play-Doh recipe. This is one that I created myself, and I've used it for a long time with Mason. Just to say that it isn't taste safe for babies, however, there's a lot of salt in it, a lot of salt. But it is a good one, and the texture for it is really lovely, so it is worth a try. So like I said, this is actually, before I start, I've noticed I've watched back my live Instagram stories and I say the word so in literally every single video. It's so annoying, so it must be really annoying for you to watch. Got to stop saying so. Right. So I'll say right instead, that'll get me started, won't it? We're going to make Play-Doh today. Like I just said, this is a recipe that I created myself. And I just really like the texture of it. It's slightly different to other ones that I've had before. Being a teacher, I've made lots of Play-Dohs and lots of disasters as well. They always used to go on the gloopy side. I found this one, touch wood, other than doing it live to a lot of people, hasn't gone wrong before, but we could wait and see. You do all know that I'm not a cook, I'm not a baker, that is not my forte, but Play-Doh I do make a lot. The Play-Doh recipe is actually in your Messy Play recipe cards, so it is in there if you want to see. There it is, the Play-Doh recipe. And they all come with some ideas of different things that you could do as well. So I'm just going to put that there. And then shall we get started? I've already boiled the kettle because I know you don't want to listen to that. So I'm just going to let that cool down for a moment because it really doesn't take very long. If you've got a pen and paper, get it to hand if you do want to use the recipe. Right, so let's get started. I'll quickly go through what I'm going to use. I'm going to use flour. I've got Untitled Chapter. One moment. That's a good start, isn't it? I've got Untitled Chapter. I can't seem to find any plain. I usually use plain. I have made it with this before and it still works fine. I use cups for most of my measurements. So I'm using flour, I'm using salt. Like I said, there's a lot of salt in this, so it's not taste safe for babies. There is also cream of tartar, which I have already done in a little packet. And my magic ingredient is coconut oil. This I really like just because the texture it creates and also the smell is lovely. So I use coconut oil instead of normal oil. A lot of people use like vegetable oil and things. Right, so starting with, gotta get out of that habit. It's really annoying, isn't it? Starting with 1 cup of flour, popping that straight in there. Then 1/4 cup of salt. Don't know if, sorry, I'm doing that off camera, aren't I? I'm going to have to practice this. I'm no Delia Smith, am I? Chucking that in there. Add in 10 grams of cream of tartar. Like I say, this is for me, this is a fail-safe Play-Doh. It's always worked well. So far in there is 1 cup of flour, 1/4 cup of salt, and 10 grams of cream of tartar. Then the messy bit, I've taken off all my jewellery because I like to get my hands in. With coconut oil, if you've not used it before, it sort of melts in your hand. It's lovely, it's got a really lovely texture. So I'm just gonna get a spoon of that ready because I use 1 tablespoon of coconut oil. Coconut oil used to be really expensive. Now I'm noticing that it's in lots of places. Aldi now do it for a really great price, and also somewhere really random. Where did I see it the other day? Home Bargains had like massive jars of it for about £1, and I always have it in for Play-Doh. I don't cook with it very often. It's also, there are so many health benefits for coconut oil, and it's a really great one to use for massage with your baby. There's a Cocoa So, which is a really great brand as well. But I buy this stuff, the cheap stuff, for making Play-Doh. So I'm just going to get 1 tablespoon of that at the ready. Now then, what I do to make sure when I make the Play-Doh that it's an even colour spread, because there's nothing worse when you're mixing it and you're trying to get the colour to mix. What I do is I actually mix the colour in with the boiling water beforehand. Then it's nice and right in here. Hi Rebecca, what have I missed? Anything? We've just started making the Play-Doh. So in here I have put 1 cup of plain flour, 1/4 cup of salt, 10 grams cream of tartar, I'm just reading it off my recipe, and I'm about to put in 1 tablespoon of coconut oil, but I haven't yet because that's where your hands get sticky. I'm about to show you how I mix the boiled water with the food colouring, just so that it doesn't, so that your colour is a really even spread. You can of course make this plain with just boiling water and no food colouring, but I like to put the food colouring in at this bit. Thank you, Debbie. So I'm in an whether, you know, Halloween and all that, whether we go for a really zombie green kind of thing with eyes, but I'm going towards the orange. I think orange might be more vibrant as well for you guys on camera. I might, maybe when we're done, I might make a green batch as well. But nice and bright. I show these every time, not paid by them, unfortunately. But Sugar Flare is the brand that I use. It's a caterer's one, so it's more of a paste. They do cost, I think about £4 or £5 for this little tub, but it goes a long way. So I do think so. Just saying that I've got to stop using the word so. By buying these, you can actually get them on Amazon now, which I found out the other day. But I've had some of these for about 3 years. It's really strong. It's quite concentrated as the paste when you're handling it. But whenever I've mixed it in with Play-Doh, it's never dyed Mason. I put it in water for water playing. It's never dyed his hands or anything like that. How do I store it? I normally store it in an airtight container or some sort of ziploc bag. I do normally do a ziploc bag. If it's out on the side and your child's been playing with it and there's loads of stuff stuck in it, so it's hard to get back into an airtight container, just put a tea towel over it and that'll keep it for like the next day. But if you're actually storing it, I put it in some sort of container, and I've never kept it longer than 2 or 3 weeks. I've never tested it. I've never tested to see how long it'll last, but it's normally between 2 or 3 weeks and then I get rid. And we've normally moved on anyway. Right, where did we get up to? So we've got all our ingredients in here. And I'm just putting in, so this is 1/2 cup of water I'm starting off with. Don't know if you can see that on camera, off camera. And I was just saying that I mix in my food colouring at this point rather than into the mixture, just to get an even spread. Like I said, it's quite strong if you get it on your hands. It will dye your hands, but I've never known it to dye Mason's hands. So I want it to be really vibrant, so I'm using quite a blob, about that much. Should we go for it? Nice and bright. I'm just mixing that into the boiling water now. I end up with it everywhere, and then I touched my face the other day and answered the door with it on my face. So I'm just giving that a good mix in here. So that was the pre-boiled water. It's just starting to cool a bit now, and I'm giving it a good old mix so it all melts in, and then I'm going to add it to my mixture, like I said, just so that the colour is nice and even. Pour that in there. Now it's still going to be really hot, so I'm going to give it a mix with a spoon before I stick my hands in it. I haven't put the coconut oil in yet, but I will do. This is a bit boring, this bit, isn't it? Can you see that it's starting to come together? It's looking very pumpkinish. I thought orange is a good colour for autumn and all the Halloween stuff that's going to be going on. Orange looks really effective against purple is its complementary colour, but also black as well. I'm giving a right old mix. Okay, that's nice and sticky. Okay, now I'm adding in the coconut oil. So I add 1 tablespoon of coconut oil. How much water? It was 1/2 cup of water. Well done, Life of Blueberry. You were listening. You get a sticker. So all I'm doing is I'm just melting the coconut oil in my hands beforehand. It is amazing. I do love coconut, so it smells divine. So I'm just mixing it in. Now then, this is where it gets messy because it's still quite sticky, and I continue to add the flour until it makes a nice consistency. So you've not finished with the flour yet. I should have added that. I just find that by doing it this way, it stops it getting too wet, too gloopy. It's really oily at the minute because of the coconut oil. So I'm just going to mix that in. Already you can see that it's a vibrant colour. Very shiny. It smells amazing. I do love it. But I just find, for all the years of making Play-Doh, that the coconut oil just gives it like an extra lift. It makes it really light and quite fluffy. So now all I'm doing is, this is where I'm worried that it could get boring. Let's chat amongst yourselves, guys. I'm just mixing in more flour. So I just simply keep doing it until I feel that the Play-Doh is at the right consistency, really. Can we look at the ingredients later? I did a post, Victoria, not so long ago with the ingredients on. Or if not, I could repost it tonight, couldn't I? Because what I'll probably do is, lots of people were asking about this video, because once it's been live, it gets lost, you see. So I might see if I can save the video on YouTube and then people can watch it. Oh, it sounds so technical, like I know what I'm doing, honestly. Just winging it, I'm afraid. So. There's the Play-Doh. Just keep kneading it. Smells amazing, and oh, it's lovely when it's nice and warm. If you want me to go back over the ingredients, I can do. We started with, it does save. I can save the video onto my phone. It just doesn't save onto thingy. But yeah, so the colours come through now that I've mixed all the flour in. So I literally just put the flour in until it became a nice consistency. It's not oily anymore. The shine has gone. And there you have it. Doesn't look as vibrant on the screen as it actually is. Put it against my dark hair. You still can't really see. But it's a nice pumpkin-y kind of orange. The orange that I use as sugar flare is called Orange. That's inspiring, isn't it? So I just added the last lot of flour just by touch and just mixing it in. There's still loads left in the bowl, but by lifting it out, and there you have it, a nice amount of Play-Doh, and I think that is enough for children. It's really, like I said, it's really easy. Can I go through the ingredients again? Of course I can, no problem. So we started off with 1 cup, I'm just checking my notes, 1 cup of plain flour. This is actually self-raising. I've never found any difference with it, but I've always used plain in my original recipe. 1 cup of flour, 1/4 cup of salt, and then 10 grams of cream of tartar. Mix those together. Boil some water, and as it's cooling, you do 1/2 cup of boiled water and mix in your food colouring into that. Like I was saying before, sorry guys if you've been watching from the beginning that I'm repeating myself. You mix it in, the food colouring in with the water, because then when you add it, you've got a nice even spread. There's no lumps of colour, because the lumps of colour is sometimes how the children end up with dyed hands. So particularly if you're a childminder or doing it in schools, you don't want that. And so once we've added the water with the food colouring, I then got 1 tablespoon of coconut oil and just warmed it up in my hand so it melts really nicely and it goes through much easier through the ingredients. And then just added flour until it wasn't sticky and nice and soft. And it's almost got like a marshmallowy kind of feel to it. Smells lovely, smells really nice. You can, with it being autumn, you could always add a little bit of cinnamon into it. That is always nice. A few herbs, maybe perhaps a bit of lavender from the garden or anything like that. You could add glitter, of course, yeah. You could also add in some sort of lentils or rice and give it a really lumpy feeling. Could you use another oil other than coconut? Yes, you can. A lot of the original recipes for Play-Doh use vegetable oil. However, my recipe, I use coconut oil because I just prefer the feel it creates. I just find it very different. And the smell as well is quite nice. It's not really strong. It's just quite a nice smell. So yeah, some of the scents that you could add, cinnamon's really nice, maybe a bit of vanilla, something like that, or you could even add a little bit of cocoa powder. That could be quite nice, smell a bit chocolatey. You do have to watch, if it smells like chocolate, then more likely to take a bite. And I've said this from the beginning that it's not actually taste safe for children because of the amount of salt that went into it. Okay, you could use rosemary, you could add ginger, mint is a nice one as well, anything like that. Loads of different things that you could try, and yeah, also add different things for different types of textures. Like I said, maybe some sort of lentils or pieces of rice is really nice. Little warning, sequins look lovely, but when sequins get mixed into it, they can become quite sharp, particularly like star ones and things. So that's just something to watch out, really. You could always leave it blank, leave it white, and let the kids use felt tips on it and colour in their Play-Doh. That is a really lovely activity. They could roll it out like a pizza and then they could actually colour it in. Eventually the colours merge, but it's no biggie. But they do love that sort of novelty. It's really good fun. Need to find some orange food colouring. I was just saying the fleeting things. I use Sugar Flare, and I get this on Amazon, or if you have any local catering suppliers. I use Sugar Flare just because of its intense colour, and it goes a long way. It's a little bit more than the supermarket ones, such as these ones. I find that I get through those loads quicker, so I prefer the Sugar Flare ones, but that's what I use. So when you're presenting your Play-Doh to your little one, I would recommend that you use some sort of tray. This is a tray I normally use. I normally go back to this tray. It's a good old £1 IKEA tray, but it is just fantastic because you'll find that particularly young children will find a tray or a placemat or something like that. It sort of acts as a border, and they're more likely to keep the things inside. So they're more likely to keep the Play-Doh on the tray. There will be mess, of course there will be mess, but you might find there's a little bit less by having some sort of tray. And just by taking the time to present your Play-Doh nicely to your child, it just makes it that little bit more inviting. So maybe using some sort of wooden chopping board, you know, some sort of natural resources if you're using natural things with it. Glass beads and things like that, using cupcake holders and candles and buttons, and there's all sorts. So this is endless of things that you can do with Play-Doh. And I love Play-Doh because it's so open-ended, where your child can really use their imagination and go to town on it and just let anything inspire them. A while ago I was doing I think it was a live video of me and Mason playing with Play-Doh, and we were making one thing and then a bee came in the room. So then that inspired Mason, and we started making bees, and then we're talking about the legs and the wings and the body parts of a bee. So it's really nice to just go with the flow with Play-Doh, and that's what's so fantastic about it. It's a really lovely resource, and like I say, I would store this in a ziploc bag or an airtight container, something like that. If your child's been playing with the Play-Doh and it's out on the tray with loads of bits in it, I chuck a tea towel over it for the rest of the day. Just then it's out if they do want to return to it later without packing it all away. And sometimes if there's a creation, you don't want to take it all apart, do you, when they're really proud of it. So yeah, that's a really handy activity. And a final thing I was going to say is Play-Doh on a mirror is really lovely. If you have an old mirror or something, and you could present the Play-Doh on an old mirror with maybe some leaves from the garden or petals or something like that, it's really effective, it's really beautiful, and your children just they won't be able to resist, will they? They'll just be desperate to play. So yeah, I hope that helps. My maternity leave. Oh, super. I was just going to say, so if anyone does try the Play-Doh recipe, I'd love to hear from you. Let me know which colours you go for. I am quite tempted to make a green because it's good for Halloween, isn't it? I was just saying that the Play-Doh recipe is included in my recipe cards, and there's loads of other things like salt dough, baby safe paint, moon sand, that's a nice one, play snow, baked cotton wool balls, loads of stuff like that. But yeah, it is in there if you want to try it. But yeah, let me know. Thank you very much. that was quite a short one for me, wasn't it? Normally I'm rambling on for like 45 minutes, but nice and easy. I feel very much like Delia Smith. I feel like I should now go and put some John tarts in the oven. That's not going to happen. Okay. All right, we'll finish it there. I will repost the video and the ingredients and things, and I hope it helps. Let me know what you think. All right, lovely to see you. Thank you very much for joining me, as always, and I'll see you soon. Bye, guys. Thank you.